Hello everyone, welcome back to Farmstead. So we have had a long day. Church, babysitting, planting corn with a 4-year-old. Wow, my hat is off to you guys who have small children or grandchildren and you're living this lifestyle. But I do want to talk to you guys about all the things you can do on small acreage. So here at Farmstead, we have 2 acres. Now, we have our main chicken coop where they compost in the chicken coop. We also planted them a garden just for them in the run. Now, like with all good rotational grazing systems, when they knock it down, we do 6 days back in the coop, turn in that compost for me, and then back out into their chicken run. By that time, lots of new stuff has seeded and they are ready to go. Some of the other things that you can do on small acreage is raise rabbits. Set up a rack and pen where your rabbits are on the front side of your chicken coop. They're pooping and peeing into the chicken coop. Those ladies are then turning that into compost that then you can use in your garden for your fertilizer. Now, seeding your own plants. That is a great way to reduce the cost of your garden, guys. It can cost thousands of dollars to buy enough plants to fill in a 1/4 acre garden. So here at Farmstead, we are learning to seed lots of things, and this year we're able to direct seed into our 1/4 acre market garden. What else can you do on 2 acres? Well, you can have fruit trees. Sorry, I had to check something. We have blueberry, thornless blackberry, and figs so far. My goal is to have a couple of citrus and an apple tree also. So you can definitely do fruiting and berry type plants. Here's the 1/4 acre market garden behind us. It's a lot of garden, guys. A lot of garden. So you can have chickens, you can have rabbits, you can have a rack and pen, you can have compost, you can seed your own plants. You can have up to a 1/4 acre to a 1/2 acre market garden, depending on how your property is already set up. Something else you can do on 2 acres is find almost all the mulch that you will need for that year if you are blessed with things like Mother Oak here, that drop enough leaves that you can continue to add that organic matter consistently back into your garden. Something else you can do on small acreage that I think people kind of overlook the possibilities on small acreage. They go from one extreme to the other. Either they don't use the acreage that they have or they overuse it. Guys, small acreage, small livestock, okay? And if you put too many small livestock on your acreage, you're going to increase fleas, ticks, parasites, and disease. You just don't have enough space to rotate these animals to new areas, and you don't have enough space to grow enough food for them. So then you are dependent on bagged feed, okay? You are dependent on somebody else feeding your animals, and you have to go and you have to purchase that. And when you're talking about input cost, that gets super expensive quick. You can have a small pond on 2 acres of land. So far you've seen a rack and pen, composting center, an area where I seed out and do educational tours, the 1/4 acre market garden. We've talked about mulch. We've talked about rabbits. Now you can grow a rabbit garden just for your rabbits close to your rabbitry, and a pollinator garden all in one. You don't need a lot of space. Shove the plants in there. It's totally okay. I'm not going to be harvesting these for human consumption, so they get some bug bites on them that are there than my main garden, right? I think a lot of people in their mind, to be a homesteader or a farmsteader, they feel like if they don't have 5 acres, 10 acres, 15 acres, that they just can't do what they need to do. We make our own biochar, which is an amazing soil amendment. It's also a way to make extra money. It's a way to get rid of all these limbs and disease plants out of the garden, right? So I can convert that into a usable, needed soil amendment for this clay soil. Now here's our main rabbitry. And it's also where I keep my tools for this garden. Okay, so you can really use your small acreage to your benefit. When you buy acreage, getting 2 acres with no trees on it is as bad as getting 2 acres totally wooded, right? So you have to think through that. You really, really do. When you're looking at land cost, you need to ask yourself, is this in an area that is conducive and supportive of farmers and homesteaders? In other words, is the sheriff on my side? Because in a parish, which is what Louisiana's counties are, and the other 49 states are counties, but in a parish or a county, the sheriff is basically the top dog. So if your sheriff is not supportive of farmers, he doesn't follow the parish or county's rules, he doesn't call you back when you have a problem, you need to think through that. So something we are blessed to have on our property are some wooded areas. That's super important. Something else that you can do on 2 acres, guys, is not only all the things we've already spoken about. You can have a shop or a barn. This is in 1,900 square feet on a concrete slab. And it is such a blessing in the winter. We also create worm castings, another amazing soil amendment, and a way to use the rabbit manure in a value-added way. Something else we do, we set up bins so that when late spring, all summer, and fall happen, we support the black soldier fly lorbi population on our property, and we use that as a protein source for our chickens. So there are so many things that you can do on 2 acres. Now, could I add some goats, ducks, sheep, geese, some guineas, some more quail? Of course I could, but I'm not set up to feed all those guys yet. I just got in my black oil sunflower seeds and my corn, because this year my goal is to learn to grow those, harvest those, dry those, and store those for winter fodder for my rabbits and my chickens. If I had goats, I would have to have pens set up either directly in the sun, okay, Louisiana sun, or over here under these trees where a whole lot of grass and stuff really doesn't grow, which means they are dependent on me completely for feed. I couldn't let them go. They would tear down my 1/4 acre market garden. Now, when the cover crops are there, be great, but it's not cover crops all year. So you need to think through. When you're doing small acreage, don't overload it, guys, with a bunch of animals. I think that's probably the biggest problem people have. It's like we equate animals with homesteading, and it is a big part of homesteading, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, start small. The Bible tells us do not despise small beginnings for a reason. Start small, learn everything you can. And then as you create symbiotic relationships, you can add in more animals. But don't go get a bunch of animals and stick them all over your property. You're not going to have enough space. You're not going to be able to feed them in a pinch. They're going to cost you an arm and a leg, and then you're not going to make any money, okay? And yes, I do believe that homesteaders, farmsteaders, and farms can actually make a profit. Like, I'm a big believer in that. And the third thing is, with that many animals, your parasitic load is going to be tremendous. So you are going to be dependent on commercialized wormers to keep your animals healthy, unless you're just an herbalist. And most people starting out aren't, guys. It takes time to grow the right plants, to understand what they're used for. So I hope this helps you realize that with 2 acres, with 1 acre, within half an acre, you can have a farm, a homestead, or a farmstead. With 50 acres, you can. But my thing is this: what good would 3 more acres do me right now? I'm worn out. I'm pushed to the limit. I'm trying to find ways to reduce cost and increase our profit so that my husband can come home from a paying job at the end of this year and be home with me full time. When that happens, yes, I'll get more acreage. Until then, I'm at my limit on what I myself can do. So I'm focused on making my systems better, learning to feed my animals naturally, and be able to make a profit off them. Once I nail that, imagine if I can do all this with 2 acres, what we're gonna do with 20. So if you start with 20, sometimes people bite off a little more than they can chew. They don't have the right equipment. They don't have the right knowledge. They get way too many different types of animals at one time. You know nothing about rotational grazing. You know nothing about growing cover crops for food. You have no idea how to pelletize your own pellets. You see where I'm going with that? And then the startup cost is astronomical, guys. So if you're gonna go into this lifestyle and you have the opportunity to buy 2 acres and pay it off, do it. You can do tremendous things with 2 acres. I bet some of you could nail it. In fact, I think most of you could. You would come up with systems that worked on your property for your timeline better than what I could do here. It's just that this is what God started me with, and this is what I've got in my hands right now. So wherever you are right now, even if you're living in an apartment, start learning to seed plants. Start learning to save seeds out of food that you've already bought. Learn how to dry them, store them, label them. Learn planting cycles. Learn how to make your own pest deterrents. Like, get ahead of the game. If you want to do this lifestyle, you don't have to wait until you're on 20 acres. You need to start exactly where you're at. That's where God wants you to begin. That's why you're there. So stop thinking, I can't because I don't, and start thinking I can because I do. So you guys have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching. I've got crazy hair. Obviously, you can hear the German Shepherd and the Dogo playing, but when I tell you I had an amazing day I did, this 4-year-old wore me out. So again, I am so impressed by the ones of you doing this with small children. God bless you. May He multiply you. May He prosper you. May He comfort you and guide you every step of the way. Get in your Bibles. Hear what God says in Deuteronomy 28. Listen to what He tells you is your right as a child of God. You guys have a blessed day. Thank you so much for rowing in our boat and letting Stephen and I row in yours. Please like, comment, subscribe. Give us a thumbs up on this video. Share our videos. Help us get the word out, guys. Too many people are watching the perfect homesteads. These people have been at it way longer than the rest of us. Most of them are so far in debt, guys. And half the time, I don't even think these people own the properties that they're showing. I think they're just pouring somebody else's. This is a hard job. It's a hard job. I'm going to change it for the world. You guys have a blessed night. Going inside to spend the rest of the evening with my amazing husband.